You know, blacks had better lives the 4 years that Donald Trump was in office. I mean, we all did. We all had peace and prosperity. And we felt protected.
Today's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. What do you think Dr. King would think of Donald Trump? Do you think he'd be a supporter?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I do.
And you, ma'am?
Well, I think he would be, but more importantly, I think Martin Luther King stood for being judged by the character and not the color of your skin, which we have completely gone away from.
In what way?
Because everything's about checking a box. If you check a box, you get the job, you get appointed, you fail and you still get promoted. So it's all about a box.
Today's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, celebrated around the country as a federal holiday. What do you think Dr. King would think of the former president?
I believe that he would love him. I mean, he stands up for, all colors, and I don't like to go into the color situation because I'm not racist, but, we've got to bring that forward because, there's been a lot of stuff in the past with people thinking that Trump is racist or the Republican Party is racist, and we're really not.
What do you think Dr. King would have thought of Donald Trump?
I think just like Dr. King, I think we all have a dream, and this is just fulfilling that legacy even more.
So Donald Trump is, in essence, a continuation of Martin Luther King's dream. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would say that. Absolutely, because we all want fair and equal justice, and at the end of the day, that's what Dr. King wanted, and I think that's what President Trump wants as well.
What do you think Dr. King would think of the former President Trump?
You'd probably like him.
How come?
He brought people together, I think. The ones that did want to come together. There's some people that just don't want to get along, but, I think he brought people together and did good things. Like Ben Carson, I'd take him for president.
And because he's African American, you think that?
No, he's just a good businessman. He was a neurosurgeon. He has mind is, Ben Carson is giving up retiring just to go around and start programs in different young and schools because, he feels America's being destroyed. So he cannot retire now from his neuro.
But what does that have to do with Dr. King?
Well, Dr. King, you asked me if Dr. King, Trump, would have liked each other. I think they would have.
And then you answered with Ben Carson or Dr.
I'm
Carson.
just throwing it out that Ben Carson would be a good president. And, Dr. King probably would have liked Ben Carson, too.
We're here in Iowa. It's Martin Luther King Day. What do you think Dr. King would think of Donald Trump?
The one thing I think Dr. King would think is that Donald Trump, despite what many people think, he is an authentic person. He's genuine. He's going to tell you what he thinks, and I think Dr. Martin Luther King would definitely respect that. That's something that we don't have very much of right now, and that authenticity and that, being genuine is rare. I think he'd like that.
Today's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. What do you think Dr. King would think of Donald Trump?
I think that Dr. King would say, if there's a lie, expose it and don't give up. Even to the point of losing his own life over something that he believed in. And very famous quotes, he changed the world. So
what's your favorite Dr. King quote?
Not the color of your skin, but the content of your character.
What's your favorite Donald Trump quote?
My favorite Trump quote. I don't have one.
What do you think Dr. King would think of the former president?
He would support him. He would back him.
Why?
Because he is for the people.
And what would he think of President Biden?
Well, President Biden, I feel, would disappoint him very muchly because he is not a good quality leader. He's not for the people, he's for dictatorship.
Where?
For power and greed.
What do you think Martin Luther King would have thought of President Trump?
I think he would have respected him because he cares about the American people. He cares about our freedom. So I think he would have respected him personally.
I want to ask you, today's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. What do you think Dr. King would think of the former president?
Well, I think Martin Luther King thought that people ought to be judged based upon their character and not by their color of their skin. And I think President Trump has been an excellent person for that. I think that he's, the idea that he's somehow racist is it's just absurd. It's absurd.